Hello, everyone. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to Good Morning Source Gaming. We're just gonna get right into it. I'm going to unmute the Discord call.
Breath of the Wild
Hello,
soundtrack
everyone.
box set. Hello.
Hello. Breath of the Wild soundtrack box set.
I was gonna say you can buy that for cheaper than 6 20-year-old Final Fantasy games.
What is this doing on the screen? I got rid of this before the stream.
Okay.
You know, people complain about the pricing for things like the Switch Online with a bunch of old N64 games, but like still a lot of old N64 and Nintendo and Super Nintendo games for one price. That is not.
That's not $75 with minimal changes.
Yeah, you could get all those 64 games and SNES games and Mega Drive games and all of that for cheaper. Even if you're paying solo, not in a family plan, then it would cost you to just buy a physical copy of the Final Fantasy Pixel games.
I really wish that they had gone the extra mile with those Final Fantasy Pixel games, because those are 4, 5, and 6 are some of my favorite Final Fantasy games. And 1 is one of the worst games ever made. But I don't know, like it's not even like the definitive version of those games. There've been so many different remakes over the years. And I'm talking, 1 and 2 in particular have gotten so many different remakes. And the funny part is that those games add extra dungeons and things like that, and none of those make it into the Pixel remasters because they're Pixel remasters.
Yeah, that is a good question, actually. Like,
there's less content in these games than there are in the Game Boy Advance versions of those games.
Yeah, I was going to say, what do you consider the definitive version of Final Fantasy VI? Would it be the GBA version, or?
I still say I would still say the Super Nintendo version, just because of the audio, because it's better audio.
Yeah,
I just want to point something out, and a Shadow Link, if you could help me with this, that'd be great. Because we got this image.
Or the iOS version with the terrible art
that I want to share with the class. You got this image of all the Final Fantasy games, like all their box arts on Game Boy Advance.
So, man, they decided to do something different with Final Fantasy IV, huh?
they surely did. But once we get up there, once we can get it on stream, show to the class, because I just want to do a little compare and contrasting.
Because I put it in as a media file.
Whoopsie.
Image. There we go.
I mean, individually, I may still buy a couple of them. I love the idea of having legitimate versions of all of my favorite retro games on my Switch. It's just something that I think is neat.
All right.
Also, I love
by the way,
Sword
that
of
image is
Mana.
taken. I just searched up Game Boy Advance Final Fantasy on the whatever search engine I use. So this is from like some random blog. So if this is not whatever, it's just an example. That's why Kingdom Hearts is on there.
Oh, hold on, I can fix this.
Have they ever sold the Final Fantasy
Yeah, you can
Tactics?
just crop the bottom of the image. Yeah, there you go.
Have they ever sold the Final Fantasy Tactics bundle?
No, I don't think so. Everyone's waiting for Final Fantasy Tactics to come back in some way.
Anyway, you have those box arts, and they look good. What the fuck is this?
I mean, I guess it's getting the point across, isn't it? In simple, easy way. There's definitely pixels, and there's definitely 6 of them.
This is like the iconography they've been using for this collection is just like here's a pixel from each. Like here's a little sprite. It looks really tacky. It looks really bad.
Yeah, it's weird. Like, this whole collection feels like a really cheap side thing that they're doing. Like, it doesn't feel like they've put a massive amount of effort into it. Like, obviously they had to do the sprites up on all of them. So, like, I'm not going to say that they haven't done any effort, but that's really it. The fact that I feel like the fact that they released it on
back up
first.
back up from your microphone. You were eating your microphone.
Can we take a second to once again talk? I brought this up just a minute ago about how bad Final Fantasy 1 is.
I've not played it, so
I should make you play it. I recently played it on my little Ambernick handheld, and I own that game like 3 times over at least, because I know I own that game right there, Dawn of Souls 1 and 2, and I actually own the PSP version, and I own the NES version, and actually I think I own a version on PlayStation 1. So I own that game at least 4 times before considering any digital versions of that game. So I have a lot of experience with that game. I can only play that game on an emulator that has a fast forward function, because it's the grindiest fucking JRPG. And I recently played through fucking Dragon Warriors. Like, the Dragon Quest 1, I can play through that game. We played Phantasy Star not that long ago. It's not about 8-bit RPGs. It's about Final Fantasy 1 having the worst encounter rate of any fucking game ever. And especially if you play the versions before the re-releases that do it, because it uses the very, very first version, the NES version of the game. And I don't know if the Pixel Remaster does this. I don't think it does, but I'd like to look it up. Instead of using magic points, instead of using MP, it uses the Dungeons and Dragons style of spells, which works for Dungeons and Dragons, but not for a JRPG that has encounters literally sometimes every step. There's some areas where every step is an encounter. And the way Dungeons and Dragons works is you have a certain amount of levels spells. So you have like 3 level 1 spells and 4 level 2 spells. So that means you have a total of 5 spells, which is not a lot when you're getting into that many. And it's so grindy, dude. It is. I hope somebody is a huge Final Fantasy 1 fan and tries to defend it, because I want to yell at them.
All I know is I hear people regularly say that Final Fantasy 2 is worse.
Final Fantasy 2 is also terrible, but it's terrible, so I haven't replayed it in a long time. Because the leveling system is bad. I honestly feel like it's a miracle that Final Fantasy became like the JRPG, because, man, when you go back to the 8-bit days, like it is my least favorite until Final Fantasy 3. But anyway, sorry, just a little ramble.
I think it's because it's the only one that actually would get like as much as
regular releases.
Yeah, even though they didn't release half of them at the time.
Yeah, it's because 7 is 7, and that was the one that made the genre, kind of mainstream. And also because 4, 5, like I said, 4, 5, and 6 are all in their own ways, I think, fantastic games. Like some of my favorite JRPGs.
Yeah. Well, 4 and 3 have the 3D versions, don't they, as well?
Yeah, you know what? And I feel like a lot of people don't like the 3D version of 4, but I like the 3D version. I think it's weird because when I played it, it kind of hit on two different types of nostalgia because it was a Super Nintendo game that looked like a PS1 game, and I was playing it after both of those gens, so it was a little weird. But I think they did a good job with that. Honestly,
Yeah, I'm gonna say I've only played the 3D version of 4. I haven't played 1 and 2. I've played the 3D versions of 3 and 4. I've played a bit of 5, and then I've played 6 like 3 times, but I've never finished it.
You should finish 6. 6 is
I should. 6 is the best one, and I just never finished it.
Yeah.
The only version of Final Fantasy II I own is on the Wonder Swan, and it's in Japanese, so I can't play.
Nice.
You're not missing anything. Just play through
Yeah, I'm not
that
missing
one.
anything.
So anyway, we started the podcast off with a ramble.
What have I been playing? Well, I played through all of Final Fantasy 1 on the GBA version.
Yeah, I guess it was relevant.
Yeah.
What do you think the best version of Final Fantasy 1 is? Is that also the
That's-
GBA version or the PSP version, or
I like the PSP versions of those
the-
games, like
um,
visually. If I've never played them, but
The PSP and GBA version are both very good if you want to play that. I heard that one of the later mobile versions was decent enough. The PSP one, I think, is the one that has the most bonus dungeons and shit like that. I think it has an extra dungeon above the ones on the GBA. But honestly, like, the bonus dungeons are cool, but since the game's not fun to play, it's just more of a not to fun to play game. I think maybe I'm being a little harsh on it. It's like I said, I literally just played through all of it. I was like, oh my god, how did I do this? Not at this speed when I was younger. But I would say either the PSP or GBA versions are both very good. I think most people consider the PSP ones kind of the definitive ones. But I like the GBA ones because it has more traditional sprites and it feels more like playing an old school Final Fantasy to me.
Right. Fair enough. Like, cause I'd seen like a retrospective on like every single version of Final Fantasy 1 at one point, and the PSP one definitely looked like
Weeb
the
Slayer,
best one, the one with the most stuff.
In chat. The pixel remasters of 1 and it doesn't, and 1 and 2, they don't have the bonus dungeons, do they? Though the pixel and do you know if they use regular magic points? I'm assuming they do, but I mean, since you seem to know something about them, maybe you can answer that.
Yeah, because I mean, none of us have played any of the Pixel remasters, right? We all just assumed it come to Switch at one point.
if I have a Steam Deck, that's not the version of Final Fantasy I'm going to be playing.
Yeah, fair enough.
I have so many options.
Like, I'll probably buy 6, maybe 4 individually.
See, I might buy 6 individually, but I really can't justify it given that I'm still sitting on Final Fantasy 7 and 8 that I got for Switch like 2 years ago now, and I've still not played either of them.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, like I said, I want my Switch to be there in case I ever fall into a wormhole and go back in time and see a version of myself from 20 years ago and be like, look at this Nintendo handheld. It has everything. Yeah. It won't have everything if I don't have those games on it.
That's true. See, speaking of like playing games, and I've got a million other games to play. Like, despite the fact that Pokemon Scarlet and Violet came out, despite the fact I bought a whole bunch of games in the Black Friday sale, I've spent the last week playing Pokemon Crystal again. Specifically,
that was
my
first Pokemon game.
Pokemon Crystal is great, but what got me into it is a housemate of mine has been super into the kooky speed runs of Pokemon Crystal, like the races, like Pokemon Crystal Bingo, where you and someone else have like a bingo card, and then you have to try and catch Pokemon to make a line of bingo, and whoever does it first wins. Stuff like that, and there's like,
oh my god,
online for it.
So Ozzy says Final Fantasy 1 Pixel Remaster uses the NES Magic System. Oh my god, like
that's awful.
I have no problem with that magic system. But it's been changed in literally every remake and re-release of that for a reason, because that magic system does not work with the way the game is structured. does it do that thing which is the worst? Which I tried to replay it on NES first, and I remembered all the things that they changed later. So one of the things on that game is that so if you have a bunch of enemies on screen, right, and you have you have four player characters in your party. If you have all four of them attack the same enemy, and then that enemy dies, after the first person attacks them, the next three people attack empty space, and it's automatically misses.
Oh, I hate that. I hate that in RPGs.
Yes, they changed that once again in every re-release, starting on the one on PlayStation 1, the first time that it got a re-release, so that they attack the next enemy in order. But if they kept the first magic system, then I assume they did that too.
Yeah, they almost certainly did.
Yeah, and I mean, but then what's the point of the pixel remaster? If you want an authentic experience, then give us the same fucking pixels too. Like, you're not remastering any. I guess I don't know. I guess I understand they're like they want this is just like updated visuals for the pristine original experience, but like you're not really updating the. I don't know. I don't know. It's stupid. It's
anyway,
dumb choice.
that's
sorry,
what I was
sorry.
saying.
I'm sorry I interrupted you. I just saw that. I was like, geez.
All right. So I've been playing a Pokemon Crystal randomizer for the last week. One that randomizes not only the Pokemon, like, you know, where you find them and what trainers have, but also randomizes every warp in the game outside of the hometown. So, like, I went into the first building once I left the hometown, which usually goes up to like Route 46, and it just took me straight to like the ice gym. And like it turns Pokemon Crystal into a Metroidvania effectively, as I spent the entire time plotting out which room takes me where and trying to figure out, like, you know, where can I go? Because in the Metroidvania, it's like, you know, you need certain power-ups to get past certain points. So like I'll hit a thing where I don't have Surf, so I've got to go find Surf, but then I also need to go find the badge for Surf so I can actually use it. So I'm trying to figure out where everything is to get around the map, all while like getting completely random Pokemon everywhere. Am I too close to the mic? Okay, it's weird. It's my usual distance. I'll push it back. Anyway, yeah. So I've so I've been playing like a ton of that, and it really is interesting. The game started, and I didn't get my Pokedex until like 9 hours into the game, which meant that I couldn't get past the roadblock that would naturally form, the one that sort of stops you from progressing. So one of the warps ended up taking me all the way to Kanto, where all the trainers are like level 35.
That's hilarious.
And I have a Chikorita that's like level 7. So
randomizers are fun, man.
Yeah, the whole start of that game was just me almost playing like a Metal Gear game as I'm trying to sneak past every trainer encounter, because I can't beat anyone, which meant I couldn't get any money, which meant I couldn't get any Pokeballs. So for the first like 4 or 5 hours of the game, I just had Chikorita and nothing else. Like, it was eventually like level 19 when I caught my second Pokemon, which was a Tyranitar, of all things. And man, it's been quite a fun experience trying to find everything. I made my goal to beat Red, and I'm pretty sure I beat like every Kanto gym before I'd beaten all of the Johto gyms. I could not find Whitney to save my life, and I needed to beat Whitney to get strength so that I could do like Chuck. I didn't even fight Claire because I found where you get her badge before I ran into her, found her gym. So when I entered her gym, she wouldn't fight me because the game was programmed to as if I'd already beaten her. So I didn't even do that fight. I didn't fight 2 of the Elite Four either. But I really liked in doing it what the legendaries were replaced by, because all the special legendaries were replaced. So really early on, I found what would be Ho-Oh normally, but it was replaced with a Poliwag in my game. So I had this level 60 Poliwag that obviously became Poliwhirl like immediately, that carried me through so much of the early game. It was just a really fun experience playing an old game like that again, but with this randomizer throwing everything into the mix. It was also just a good test of my Pokemon skills. Like, I managed to beat Red with all my Pokemon severely underleveled. Like, I didn't have a Pokemon that was higher than level 63, and my lowest level Pokemon was level 39, and all of Red's Pokemon are like level 78 to 82. It was a battle and a half. Like, my Gengar real MVP, level 40, taking down level 82 Snorlax by just constantly putting it to sleep so it can't heal itself. It was a trip. I've beaten it now, so I'm ready to return back to playing more up to date games. But I just got super distracted by it because I realized that I could like get a bunch of Game Boy games for my analog pocket, so I was trying to just get a lot of really cool Game Boy games or hacked games and stuff. Like there's this guy who's made deluxe hacks for Super Mario Land and Super Mario Land 2.
There is for Super Mario Land a Super Nintendo version that uses assets from New Super Mario Brothers on the DS, and it's kind of insane.
Yeah.
I think I've seen that new Super
I'm pretty
Mario
sure I
Land or
posted
something.
that. It's like
Yeah.
I posted that in here once. It's fucking cool.
Yeah, the Super Mario Land Deluxe ones are quite cool. They're like, you know how Link's Awakening obviously got a deluxe version. It's like, well, what if this happened to Super Mario Land? So like the Super Mario Land 2 one adds Luigi as a playable character as well to the game. And Super Mario Land it changes up the sprites and stuff to make them like a bit more detailed and all that. And obviously the whole game's in color, so it's pretty cool. And he's doing for the Frog the Bells Toll Deluxe. So, because I was going to replay that, but I think I'm going to wait for his Game Boy Color version of it to come out before I replay
I don't
that.
want to. I don't want to necessarily promote hacks and ROM hacks and things like that. But there's some cool stuff.
There's some cool stuff.
Yeah,
No,
like
I think we should promote all those things. 'Cause,
I was telling you, Jex, a while back that there are like if you want to play Castlevania 2, there are ROM hacks that make that game, understandable with better boss fights and a map, and it speeds up the day-night cycles and fixes all those problems. So why wouldn't I play that version?
Yeah, there are like improvement hacks, there are graphical hacks, and then there are just ones that change things up. Like I still own Pokemon Crystal. I can still
of
play
course.
Pokemon Crystal, but why not experience it through a completely different means?
Right.
It's like I played like a Link to the Past randomizer as well back in the day. And that's also a super fun one. Although I got stuck on that for ages.
Do you know what I've wanted to try? And maybe this would be a fun thing to stream for Source Gaming. Have you seen the Super Metroid /
Yes,
Link to the Past randomizer? That seems insane.
I played it earlier this year.
Nice.
Were you able to get through it, or were you able?
So I played it with a buddy of mine on Parsec. We would pass off the controller with each game.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you probably
Super
get
Metroid and you'd play Zelda.
The thing is, I would imagine from that Shadow Link, and you could confirm or deny. Just thinking about it, I feel like you're constantly just getting missile upgrades because that's like the thing that there's the most of in both of those games.
You're constantly getting missile upgrades, and you're constantly getting heart pieces.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, rupees. No, rupees was more.
Because those are in chests. Oh, that sucks.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I played Super Metroid, and my friend played A Link to the Past. Ozzy in the chat, he played A Link to the Past.
Okay.
So, we thought it would be funny because it's a reversal of people's expectations. They expect me to play the Zelda game. There were multiple points.
That was my first assumption.
There were multiple points where we had to do funny sequence breaking because we didn't have an item that we needed yet. But we just wanted to get through the area. Ozzy went through the entire Hyrule Castle, the second trip of Hyrule Castle, without a lantern. And then we found out that there was a fire rod early on in the game that I could have gotten if I was better at the game. So
Whoops.
Ultimately, this culminated in the escape sequence because I was the last one to finish the game. They finished A Link to the Past. I escaped with like 0.01 milliseconds on the clock.
Damn.
When is somebody going to make a Minish Cap Metroid Fusion? True follow up. I think I might try. I was thinking about it. I'm all like, what game would I actually? I could do. I've tried Link to the Past and I got stuck somewhere. But I could do Link to the Past and I could do Super Metroid. But I think Symphony of the Night would be the game if I were to do a randomizer.
Someone should make a Tetris Effect randomizer. That would be my choice.
Does that even work?
It's just they don't tell you what pieces are coming up next. You gotta...
It says one thing and then something
gives you another one.
Drops down.
I got an idea for you. Okay,
Mhm.
you take a sticky note, you put it on the screen where the next block is.
Yeah. Actually, the most disgusting one would be like a randomizer for Puyo Puyo, because like if that like ruins everyone's combos if you don't know what's coming up next.
Yeah. Just have to hope and pray.
Yeah.
Anyway, what have you been playing, Colin?
Speaking of hacks and mods, this week I've been playing the Yakuza Restored mod.
Yo,
I don't know why. I just wanted to play Yakuza 1 again. Actually, no, I know why. I was partially inspired by a Shadow Link going through the series for the first time. And yeah, I just was like, yeah, I'll go back to Yakuza 1. I have played Yakuza 1 before, but it was a long ass time ago, and it's the classic PS2 version. So I wanted to see it with a dub and translation that isn't as funny. Like I love that original like US dub of Yakuza 1, but like the restored mod is pretty cool. It's like one of the few like undub retranslation mods to not be done by someone who's taking like such a fucking literal approach to retranslating a game. It just feels like it's more in line with the newer games, like in terms of like writing and style.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, fun game.
Nice. I've still only played Yakuza 0, and I still only played it for like 5 minutes. I think at this point it might become one of those series like Silent Hill that I just experience through osmosis and never actually play myself.
Yeah. I mean, they're all fun. I really do not like the fact that people were like gaslighting each other after Yakuza 0 came out, and everyone's like, "Oh, you got to start with 0, and like you got to wait. I hope they remake 1 because those old Yakuza games are so hard to go back to." They really aren't. They play totally fine. Like they're good games.
Oh, just to bring up something that I just spotted, back to Final Fantasy again. Apparently, Square have removed all screenshots of the remasters from their website.
Why?
I don't know. According to RPG site, it's because that the font is going to be changed, and they've just whoever's done it has just posted shots from like the Steam version of the game, like not actual ones. So they've removed all the screenshots because obviously people are pissed.
Weird.
Yeah.
I don't understand what took so long for those ports to come over too.
I mean, it's I don't know.
I think they just wanted to double dip. They're like, if we release this on Steam first, then people will eventually buy it on their consoles.
Yeah, I don't know what the porting process is like either.
I can't imagine.
I don't know if the Pixel Remaster need to make a certain amount of money so that they could bother to fund
maybe
porting them to something else. Yeah. Anyway, okay. Matt, what have you been playing?
Oh boy. So the consequence of only doing a Good Morning Source Gaming every like month or two is that I build up a lot of games to talk about. On the last Good Morning Source Gaming, I talked about how I played Yakuza 1, 2, and 3.
Mm-hmm.
Now we are going to talk about Yakuza 4, 5, 0, 6, and 7. But before that, I'd just like to say Pokemon Violet is one of the worst RPGs I've ever played. Anyway,
Whoa.
Wow.
Whoa.
I
Yakuza
think
4.
Scarlet is alright. I've been enjoying it, although I haven't played it for like 2 weeks now. I should get back to that. Anyway, sorry, go on.
So, Yakuza 4 is an interesting game. In Japan, it has the subtitle Succession of the Legend, and that is because they introduced 3 new protagonists in the game, and basically field test them to see who works and who doesn't. You start the game not with Kiryu, but with a man named Akiyama, who is a moneylender, former hobo, who struck it rich at the end of the first game, which is a really cool callback. Yeah, and he's also voiced by the same person who does Spike Spiegel, Cowboy
Nice.
Bebop. And he is one of my favorite Yakuza characters. He used to be my favorite. But we'll get back to that. So he has this really fun moveset where he fights with kicks. And only kicks.
Okay.
So you see him doing like a rapid jab, like Devil May Cry sword move with his fucking leg.
It's like Fox in Smash.
Yeah, like Fox.
His jabs.
Yes. You see him just hopping around on a single leg, kicking with the other. It does not make physical sense. Does not need to. It's really fun. The second character is a hulking mammoth of a man named Saijima. He is the personification of a literal tank. That man cannot die. He will not die. And he also, if you upgrade him, does not flinch when attacked.
Oh, damn.
He is the strongest character in the series, and he is unfortunately not that fun to play as. He has, despite being like this hulking mammoth, a lot of his attacks are really weak feeling. And there's a considerable wind up if you want to use his attacks at peak efficiency. Now the third character is a police officer named Tanimura, who is a corrupt cop. Tanimura is the start of Yakuza casting famous actors for their games. There are a few other characters in Yakuza 4 who are famous actors, but I believe 4 is the first game to do it. In the original Yakuza 4, he is likened after and played by an actor named Hiroki Narimiya. I hope I definitely didn't say that right. But anyway, you may remember him for people unfamiliar with Japanese cinema as Phoenix Wright in the Ace Attorney movie.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
So Japan's a wild place, and any interaction with drugs will get you out of the industry forever.
Yeah. Isn't that what happened to the Judgment guy?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Hiroki Narimiya was falsely accused of doing drugs.
Okay.
And he left the industry forever.
Yeah, he's only in like 2 movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
So this kind of rising star guy, just his career ended. So when it came time to remaster Yakuza 4, I assume they either couldn't get the license to use him again because he no longer was in the industry, or they just removed him because he was accused of doing drugs. Either way, he is replaced in the remaster with somebody imitating his performance, and it's a much weaker performance overall. There is a mod to replace him back with the original actor, and I installed that. Alright, so Tanimura is this interesting gameplay style, and there's not quite anything like it, where at the end of all of his combo strings, you can activate a heat move, which will do some kind of extravagant finisher. There is one finisher where he will flip a dude over, pin him to the ground, and cuff him.
Okay.
I would like to add that you fight police officers in this game too. So you can cuff police officers, and it's really funny.
Nice. They had you like this. You know how it feels.
I love these fucking games, man.
I think my favorite thing about Tanimura is that he carries around a pistol, uses it in one cutscene, and cannot use guns in gameplay, except for his taunt where he takes out his pistol and shoots it in the sky. Bro, that bullet's coming back down.
Some real American cowboy style.
Yeah, he also doesn't sing karaoke. Sad day.
That's sad. No one. I'm assuming he never came back then.
Yeah, no, he never came back.
Yeah. He's not singing karaoke. What's even the point?
So, in talking about the first 3 games, I didn't really go that far into spoiler territory. But I'm gonna have to now. So Saejima, our friend Saejima, is a former Yakuza who 18 years? No. It's like 25 years prior to the game. It's some kind of big number.
Okay.
He went on a hit and killed 18 people.
Well.
Shot them down, gunned them all down. He lives with the ramifications of this. He has nightmares back to that day. The game tries to absolve him of any guilt, and here's how it does it.
Okay.
The guns he was given for the hit that day were loaded with rubber bullets.
Okay.
So he gunned down 18 people.
And none of them died because it was rubber bullets.
None of them died.
Well.
I would like to add, he shot some of those people in the face.
It's rubber bullets, you know, so it's fine.
So.
Well then.
So, the actual. One of the actual antagonists of the game came up right after Saejima and then killed those 18 people.
So those 18 people still died.
Yes.
Also, there's
Wow.
like no way that would be non-lethal. Like
Yeah.
out of a fucking handgun. Like
Yeah.
He shot some of those people point blank.
yeah. We all know what happened to Brandon Lee. Like that's not happening.
That's certainly a way to not commit to your protagonist's violent
No,
crimes.
you don't understand. No Yakuza protagonist can kill. That's just a thing.
It's just a thing.
Tanimura chucks
That's
a
just a
katana
theory.
across the fucking room into a dude's chest. Non-lethal. Don't worry about it.
I love in Yakuza 1 you like beat the ever-loving shit out of people with like chairs and like other large objects, so much so when they fall to the ground there's literally a PS2 post-processing layer, a pool of blood underneath them.
Yeah.
But no, they're fine. They'll
mean,
walk it off.
I mean, forget that. Dude, you gunned down multiple people in Yakuza 1.
Yeah. Yeah.
Non-lethally, of course. Non-lethally gun them down.
By the way, that like I gotta say, I think the most amusing thing of playing Yakuza 1 after so long is that man, this series has really maintained consistency in its structure. Like the second the game allows you to just fucking walk around, you're like, oh, it's like I'm playing any other of these games.
Mm-hmm.
It's like really cool.
Oh yeah. Okay. I've been asked by chat to do something. I would like you all to have the stream open if you don't already.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Make sure it's present.
By the way, shout outs to Valve for making the Steam Deck. It's just
You're really enjoying it.
I've been using it as my because I redid my whole like gamer setup last year, so I don't have any of my old consoles hooked up, and now this thing is really prolonging that even further by basically being a pretty good PlayStation 2. Also nice.
Non-lethal rocket launcher.
Non-lethal bazooka.
Non-lethal.
They had all their backpacks with parachutes
It's
on.
fine. It's all on autopilot, you know. So
Don't
there
worry
wasn't even
about it.
anyone in the helicopter.
Yeah.
That's
Rocket. Okay. So
Rocket.
Yakuza 4. The last thing I need to talk about is this is the game where Kiryu starts being this mythical legend figure because he's got to take the back seat to all these new protagonists. And he doesn't really act like himself anymore.
Okay.
He's this kind of stoic, non-feeling guy, and he's super expressive in the first 3 games. Like he screams, he cries.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
No. He's too old and cool for that now, huh?
Yeah. So Yakuza 4 ends with this bombastic 4-stage final boss where you fight as every one of the protagonists against their respective antagonist. And it has a very funny accompanying music track that unfortunately has the vocals cut out for the game.
Okay.
But the song is called For Faith. I'm not gonna play it, but it is. You know what? Fuck it. I'm gonna play it.
Okay.
Just let me pull up the soundtrack. It is okay. So there are 4 songs. For Faith, the number 4. For Face, the number 4. For Face, the word 4. And then For Faith, the word 4. I don't know. Don't ask. I cannot say. So this is gonna be loud. I gotta be fast. Okay. Alright. So this song has very funny English lyrics. I'm gonna post it in stream channel for you guys to listen to if you want to.
Okay.
But I have a feeling chat is going to be very excited for this one.
I was gonna say I have got all the Yakuza soundtracks. So
Yeah, I do too.
I know exactly what this is.
I'm listening to it now. Source asked if we could get some background music for the podcast. Maybe not this. I can barely hear what they're trying to say.
Yeah?
Yeah, I can barely hear the lyrics.
Just wait a moment. Here we go.
Whoa. You lost space.
Fuck it up. So, alright. So chat has my friends Secret Sauce 42, Ozzy, and Ganame in it.
Mm-hmm.
We have created a ritual where we put the song on and we all fucking write the lyrics to the song while it's playing. So you just experienced that in chat.
Right. Selfish, dude.
I'm gonna bring up the image. We have a funny image. Check stream.
This song sounds like every Oasis song. And is about as intelligible as an Oasis song.
Yeah.
We
The
are
4
we are the Yakuza 4.
Singing this to each other as you go to fight.
Oh god. Alright. So we spent a while on Yakuza 4. I didn't expect to spend that long on Yakuza 4. I'm gonna try to pick up the pace.
Yep.
Yakuza 5 starts you as another new protagonist. You start as a taxi driver named Taiichi Suzuki, who is Kazuma Kiryu.
Okay.
So you play as a taxi driver in a remote location because in order to support his adopted daughter Haruka, he goes into isolation, secludes himself because her connection to him will lead to her career as an idol being ruined.
Right, okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah, sure. Why not?
So you play as a taxi driver, and I love this because the game makes you actually ferry people in a taxi. It is realistic. You have to use your turn signal. You have to stop at the stoplight.
Wow.
And then immediately after you do your first taxi driving mission, you go on the highway and a car pulls up to you and it's like, oh, this guy wants to do a street race. You should race him. Eurobeat starts, and
See,
I'm yeah.
just another day for the taxi driver.
Look on
Less
screen.
driving.
Yeah.
Just
this
casual...
game is fucking wild. I did this whole taxi driver sub story. It was great. I loved it.
That's really an unexpected twist there.
Yeah, it's really good. It is like one of the most successful jokes in the franchise, and then it fleshes itself out into a fun mode that lasts for like an hour or two. So
nice.
it's cool. Yakuza 5 has you playing as 5 people because they're funny. They're just being funny with it.
They're really trying to find a new protagonist, huh?
So they brought back 2 characters from the previous game. Tanimura is gone, but we're back with Saejima, and he is in prison again because he broke out of prison in the last game and he needs to serve the rest of his sentence.
Okay.
So you break out of prison in this game.
That didn't last very long.
And Saejima has been made a lot more fun in this game. He can pick up people by their leg and twirl them around, so long Gay Bowser style. He can also roll up people into a snowman. And then you can fight people using that snowman.
Okay, sure.
It's funny. It's great. Saejima's
of
a
all
lot
things,
of fun.
I wasn't expecting that. Must admit.
The next character you play as is Haruka herself, and the game turns into a rhythm game.
Nice.
You have to play the rhythm game for her idol concert, and then, so basically, I need to explain her story a little bit. So she is basically living out the dream of the person who scouted her to be an idol.
Right.
And they spend a night together on the town, and they bond. And so this character dies the morning after.
Right, of course. Of course.
and here comes Akiyama just walking into town. The person who died had taken out money from him, and he has to go investigate what's going on. So it becomes this murder mystery where you're trying to figure out who killed her. And it's funny. I made the joke that this is an Ace Attorney game because you have a dude and a younger assistant just running around.
Right. So you're playing as Maya, basically.
Yeah, sure. So you eventually figure out who killed her, and it is this dude, this big guy named Kanai, who is one of the funniest characters in the series because he is just some jobber. He is just some big guy. And he is the largest presence in the game.
Okay.
He has no character, but he is always there.
Oh, okay. What's his name?
Kanai.
Just Kanai.
Kanai. He probably has a first name. I don't know it. It flashes his name on screen 3 times at least, and I don't know it. So after that, you play as your final character, Shinada, who is voiced by Dante himself. Dante's Japanese voice actor, also known as Sephiroth, so that's funny. Because he is this big goober who has like a heart of gold. He's an ex-baseball player, and he refuses to fight with a baseball bat. If you pick a baseball bat up, he will lovingly cradle it and then put it down.
Nice.
And he has to deal with this mystery of this conspiracy behind why he got excommunicated from baseball to begin with, because he was accused of stealing signs from the enemy team.
Stealing signs?
So teams have signs when they throw their pitch. And you're not supposed to know them as the batter. And he hit a home run. So he was accused of stealing signs.
Right.
So he uncovers this huge Yakuza conspiracy to control the entire town through the act of excommunicating one guy, which led to this domino effect of the other Yakuza being pushed out of the town.
Sure.
and all the while he is on this kind of buddy cop adventure with another moneylender named Takasugi, who is one of the best characters in the series. He is hilarious. He constantly brings up his kids whenever he talks to Shinada about not paying him back. And he talks about a new kid every time.
Okay.
Eventually, it is revealed that the entire town is out to get Shinada because he's getting too close to the truth. And just as he's about to be executed by the regular townsfolk, this is like some hot fuzz shit. Takasugi bursts in on a forklift and saves his life. It is incredible. It is, oh god. Shinada's story in Yakuza 5 is about finding your place in the world, and it is so good. So it is revealed that the person who hired him to find out the mystery of this town is the leader of the Tojo clan, which is the clan that Kiryu belonged to. Daigo. And they fight each other because Shinada feels used and betrayed. He hates that Yakuza hired him because Yakuza ruined his life. And so they fight each other to this like ballad rock song that is about a bad romance and a person trying to win back their lover. I don't know.
Sure.
I don't know why they picked this song. It's a licensed song. It's removed in the English version.
Oh, okay.
But I put it back in the game. It's very funny. It's so funny. It turns this like battle between men into this like fucking he's fighting with his boyfriend, don't worry about it.
He just feels betrayed by his boyfriend.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
So this is how Shinada gets wrapped into the rest of the plot. He goes back with Daigo. And he just like runs into Akiyama and he goes on wacky adventures with him, and eventually they group up together. They are not the Yakuza 5, they are the Yakuza 4 again, just with Shinada instead of Tanimura, because Haruka can't fight. She's off somewhere else. Don't worry about it.
Sure.
Oh yeah. Ozzy has reminded me in chat. There's Sonic 06 music in this game.
Oh, really?
you can hear Dreams of an Absolution
Nice.
in the background of some bars. Now, what makes this really funny is I heard Dreams of an Absolution when I was doing one of Saijima's imagination adventures, where he imagines that he's out on the town, inside prison.
Oh, right. Okay.
Which means that sometime between 4 and 5, when he was out of prison, he either played or heard Sonic 06.
Damn, no wonder he wanted to go back to prison.
Okay.
Can't blame him.
So, I'm going back. Yakuza 5. The ending is the ending kind of effectively ruined the game for me.
Oh, okay.
So they spend the whole game talking about dreams. And how you shouldn't give up on your dream. You shouldn't sometimes you have to shoulder other people's dreams. They say the word dream in Japanese like 400 times.
Right. So they're not very subtle about it then.
They're not.
So you get in there.
So Haruka is shouldering the dream of her former manager who died. And at the end, she gives up, says, "My father is Kazuma Kiryu," and then leaves.
Okay.
In the middle of a large concert that was put together in this like wild plan to put her at the top of the world.
Right, okay. Why does she do that?
Because she wants to be with her family. Which, fair enough, that's her dream. I get it. But holy shit. They made a big deal about how much that character's death meant to her, and she just leaves.
Just gives up.
Like, now the biggest
you meant a lot to me, but not that much.
Yeah. Now the biggest problem with Yakuza 5 is the final boss of the game is some fucking guy who, at the beginning of the game, played the bumbling oaf to another guy who was conspiring against Kiryu to take over the Tojo clan. He reveals that he is not a bumbling oaf after returning from the death, looking for the person who is above him. Basically his sworn brother. It is heavily implied that he killed his sworn brother despite him looking for him. And when you enter the final boss room, Kiryu, and I'm going to quote the game verbatim, says, "What are you doing here?" And then the final boss says, "To be honest, I'm not really sure myself."
Classic. Iconic.
All right, well, fair enough.
And anyway, that's Yakuza 5. The final boss was also broken in the remaster. He moved at the speed of light, and the only thing I could do against him was counter him.
Okay.
That fight has no build-up, nothing. It's one of the worst final bosses in the entire series, despite how hype it is to people. Just from a story perspective, it's terrible. So speaking of terrible, here we go. It's time for a Shadow Link's hot take. Let's talk about Yakuza 0.
Oh boy.
Fuck this game.
is a hot
Yakuza
take.
Zero. Yakuza 0 is a game that had been built up to me for years as the pinnacle of the franchise. Many people claim it is the one that you should start with. If 3 wasn't genuinely a bad game, this would be my least favorite game in the series.
Wow, that's surprising, given how many people seem to love Yakuza 0.
I believe it was the game that they played first, so that's why they like it so much. So
they really did a bad job of like trying to introduce this series to the West. I think like it's cool that everyone likes it now, but like, goddamn, they they really should have made the PS2 games more accessible. Like they should have brought the HD collection to the West. I have no idea why they didn't. And then like, I mean, I remember like they tried a bunch of times to get like Yakuza to take off in the West, but like in really fucking weird ways, because like you had like Yakuza 3 and 4 is like just niche PS3 titles, and then fucking Dead Souls is the one they put all the marketing budget into.
Yeah.
And then I remember like there was that one PlayStation experience where after like years of nothing, they were like, "Oh yeah, Yakuza 5 is coming to the West and it's a PS Plus exclusive. Please play it. Please download it. Please check it out." And I think people eventually latched on to Yakuza 0 because it came out in like a time. It came out like 3 months before Breath of the Wild, so no other video game had its time in the shine, like had its time in the sunshine at that moment. And plus, it's a prequel. Everyone's just like, "Oh yeah, I guess I could just play this one first."
Yeah.
But once you play that game, like you sort of understand why people think Yakuza is this like goofy, crazy, campy, off the wall experience, and then you go play the other ones, and you're like, "Wow, there's way more structure in these."
Okay.
Yakuza 0 is like the free-form Yakuza game.
0 is...
There's so much. It's so much.
There are 2 campaigns in 0. One where you play as young Kiryu, and one where you play as young Majima. And this game is a bad introduction to both of those characters. Everybody says, "Oh yeah, start with 0. You could start at the beginning of Kiryu's journey." Now, Kiryu's journey begins in the first Yakuza game. 0 is this disconnected mess of a game that has no importance to the entire rest of the series except for a side mode in the remake of 2.
Right. Okay. I guess it is somewhat difficult to do a prequel and have it matter.
Yeah.
When that wasn't initially the plan or the case.
There are some things I like about 0. There's a character in Kiryu's story who's pretty cool. I think Majima's campaign, despite it being a very bad introduction to the character of Majima, is fairly compelling and good. Kiryu's campaign is bad. And the reason why it's bad is because all of the villains are jobbers who either have too much screen time because they're a famous actor, or just have no character whatsoever.
Right.
However, it does flesh out the villain of the first game, and he is very cool in this game too. I think they did a very good job with him. I can see why they brought his actor back to play the new protagonist. We'll get back to that later. So the reason I say 0 is such a bad introduction to the character of Majima is because Majima is this aloof figure in the first game. He is a character that you're not sure is on your side or not, because he is constantly out trying to kill you, but he is honorable. He stops somebody who tries to kill you in the middle of your fight. And eventually, after the first game, he becomes a very trusted ally. But he's this crazy guy, and you don't quite know what to expect from him next.
Yeah.
And Majima in Zero, because you're playing from his perspective, you see his true self, where he is very serious, and the facade of Majima's craziness is just gone. You don't have it to begin with if you start with Zero. So instead of
you immediately know what he's actually like.
Yeah, so instead of thinking, oh, this is a guy who pretends to be all kooky so that he can, like, maybe lower the defenses of his enemies, or
people let their guard down around him,
work in the shadows, you know he is this guy who is pretending to be kooky for that very reason.
Right. There's no mystery about him.
Yes.
That's the problem.
Some people frame Yakuza 0, and the writers may have thought this too, as the story of Majima, like, going crazy. But no, he just decides to do it at the end of the game.
Right.
I don't know, man. There's no build up or anything to it. He's just like, yeah, Kiryu-chan. Yakuza 0 is the reason also why a lot of Yakuza fans say the side content is all that people play Yakuza for, because the side content is significantly better than the main campaign of the game.
The side content in Yakuza 0 is crazy. It's fucking bonkers.
You fucking meet Michael Jackson.
Miracle Johnson.
Miracle Johnson.
Yeah, I must admit, I don't really know anything about the main story. It is entirely the side content that I know about Yakuza 0.
I had more fun playing Disco than I did with the game's combat.
Yeah,
that's a bit of an overstatement. I liked a few of so this game introduces style switching, which thankfully leaves the series after this.
Okay.
Where you have 3 different movesets, and a 4th one is unlockable if you complete some huge mega side mode. And for Kiryu, I didn't like 2 of those movesets at all.
Okay.
I played the game almost entirely in Beast style, which is hilarious because it basically turns Kiryu into Saejima. And he can pick up heavy objects and flail them around, and that made the game a joke.
I guess it was meant to be their way of getting multiple character playstyles in, but only having to stick to just Kiryu.
Yeah, and Majima. Yeah, Majima has 2 styles that I really liked. He has one style where he uses his baseball bat. That's pretty fun. And another style where he breakdances to fight, which is hilarious. I liked those movesets. I just wish that the other ones were more developed. Rush style is one of the worst action game movesets I've ever played. Don't at me. Just I went into 0 with super high expectations, and I walked out with thinking, the game was okay, which has effectively basically ruined the game for me, because me thinking it's just okay, and people always parading it as the pinnacle of the franchise, and the game you should start with instead of the first fucking game in the series. um, just makes me frustrated and angry. The I think the fucking the statement people make that frustrates me the most with Yakuza 0 is that you need to play it before the first game because it will help you understand the antagonist. And it's like, no, you don't need to play a game to help you understand a character from a game that came out 10 years before it.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that doesn't make any sense. Like, it gives you a bit more insight, sure, but you don't need to, surely.
The antagonist of the first game is developed just fine and is a compelling villain. And there's nothing really gained from, like, playing 0 before 1 except for changing your perception of what the series is before you play the series proper. And they fucking remade 1 with the assumption that you will be playing 0 before it. So it is a flanderized remake. Kiryu is stone-faced as fuck in it because he's stone-faced in 0. So they took this really expressive character from the first game who, sure, he hides his emotions, but when it counts, they come out. And they just took away all subtlety from his emotions. Like, they're all of the animation work that was done on him is just gone. He's just this stoic, stone-faced motherfucker.
That's bizarre. I guess you just assume that they've changed their intent, I suppose, on how he should be. I don't.
We'll get back to that.
Okay.
So in the remake 2, because you played 0 before this. They make Majima this huge presence. You have to unlock your moveset by fighting him.
And, I knew that they sort of added more of him into the remake. I think we chatted about this before, I think.
Yeah, we have. But basically, they ruin the mysterious aspect of his character. They just make him some crazy guy who always follows you around.
Right. So yeah, they just I guess I see that if they assume you're playing 0 first, there is no mystery anymore. So they've reused him they've used him in other ways to keep him relevant.
Yeah, but then they still keep the shit from the first game where he just shows up to fight you at the same time, and it's completely recontextualized.
Yeah, Weeb Slayer says that the only games he doesn't really like are the Kiwami games, which are the remakes, right? Kiwami 1 and 2?
Yeah, Kiwami 1 and 2.
Yeah. Isn't Yakuza 0 sort of it uses the same engine as Yakuza 6, right? I always forget which order they come in.
Yakuza 0 uses
the other way around.
The same engine as Yakuza 5.
Yeah.
And Kiwami uses the same engine as 5 and 0. 6 introduces the Dragon engine, which is used in Kiwami 2. So as I said on the last time, if you start with 0, you're playing 0, 0 again, and then 6. If you play in chronological order with the remakes.
And then jumping back to 3.
Yeah.
Down to 3, yeah.
I've harped on 0 enough. I don't like being negative. I just didn't like this game at all. And I have a bone to pick with people who say to start with it. Because Yakuza 1 is a great game, and I really like it.
Yeah, it's really good.
The impression I'm getting here is that you should start with actual Yakuza 1 and not Kiwami as well.
Yes.
Yeah. Also, 2 and Kiwami 2 are almost completely different video games.
Oh, wow. I guess they must have. I just find it really weird to remake a game in that kind of a fashion.
As I said, I really don't understand why they never brought the HD collection over. Like famously, Yakuza 1 and 2 for Wii U did not do well.
Yeah.
But I would genuinely argue I think it would have done well if it was brought to the West, because people in the US would have been like, "Oh, fucking these PS2 games are $80."
Yeah, I mean, it's not like the Wii U had many other games to keep people occupied, so
Yeah. Just bring that and like the PS3 version over. Or even just making them PS2 classics, which they didn't do either.
yeah.
They were just like, your only option to play Yakuza 1 and 2 after their release was paying like double the price of the retail price at like a used game store, maybe. Before they reprinted all of them randomly after Zero.
Yeah,
Which
it does kind
cool.
of it does kind of feel like Yakuza really only got its chance big thanks to PlayStation Plus and Game Pass.
Well, that's what
like,
happens when
free.
because the original games are like very late PS2 games.
Yeah.
So by that point, like I mean, like there were still PS2 games coming out, but like you're not really seeing people, like pay full price for like a 2006 PlayStation 2 title.
Was it really that late? The first Yakuza?
It was
2005.
2005 in Japan, 2006 and everywhere else.
Ah, wow. See, to be honest, I don't think I ever heard of the Yakuza series until Zero, and then found out it was a PS2 game. So I just sort of assumed it was one of those.
Yeah, and then Yakuza
PS2
2
series.
Yakuza 2 is 2006 in Japan, but 2008 for everybody else.
Right.
Like people had already played BioShock by then, Yeah, and then the rest were on the PS3, which like fucking
yeah, there's the PS3.
People didn't buy until later either. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, a game that is overrated to a game that is underrated. We're going to talk about Yakuza 6.
Okay.
I love all these 2022 games.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this is.
Yeah,
I was not expecting the Yakuza talk to go on for this long.
We should have a more regular schedule probably, because this would have gone way smoother if I could talk about these in a free week instead of all bunched up here.
Well, you're free to ask.
Yeah.
I have asked. I have asked before. We just didn't do it.
Free to set it up. Oh, anyway.
Maybe when they bring these games to a Nintendo console again, maybe. Maybe for Switch 2, baby.
I mean, from everything I'm hearing now, it's I feel like I've experienced the whole series at this point.
We still got 2 more games to go.
Oh my god.
Don't worry about it. I didn't play any fucking 2022 games that I really care about, so I'm just gonna not say anything after this. Don't worry about it.
Oh.
Well, we've only got like 30 to 40 minutes left anyway.
Ooh.
So, yeah, I'm going to say it's been at least
2022.
47 minutes. I'm just going to change the title of the video. Go out, just keep going.
Here we go. All right.
It's the fucking college seminar on the Yakuza franchise.
Final Fantasy and a college seminar on the Yakuza franchise. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, why Japanese games are banned.
Ooh.
No.
Okay.
Remember when Phil Fish was like, not to dredge up old internet bullshit, but remember like after Skyward Sword came out and he was like, Japanese games are fucking terrible.
Yeah. What a character.
Anyway, go on.
So, Yakuza 6, The Song of Life. The first game with a subtitle that made it over here, actually. Because they've had subtitles for a while in Japan.
They put so much money into that game.
Dude. production value in 6 is incredible.
It's insane.
You
Yeah,
can
it's
see
so...
every follicle of hair on Kiryu's head.
I was in Japan in April 2017, which would have been a couple months after Zero released in the US, but like when was 6 out? That year?
2016,
In Japan?
I think.
Let me check.
It's either 2016 or 17.
December 2016, and then we got it in 2018. Wow. So like the marketing for that game was still in like full force everywhere. Like you could not walk fucking you go into any like Sega building and they just had these giant fucking Yakuza 6 mural.
Nice.
Okay, so Yakuza 6 starts out right where 5 ended. And one thing I really like about it is a lot of people think 5 is a feel-good ending because Haruka is back with Kiryu. Oh boy. No. She faces the ramifications of her actions immediately.
Oh boy.
Kiryu, because of the end of the game, has to go serve time in prison. And he's doing it so that he'll clear his name, fresh slate, so that he can spend the rest of his life with his family. And so Haruka has to deal with the fact that everything that her manager said is coming true. Because she disclosed her connection to Kiryu, paparazzi are all about her orphanage where she lives, and they are harassing her adopted siblings.
Okay.
And so she realizes why Kiryu had to leave in 5. And she goes into isolation herself. She leaves. She makes the same sacrifice that Kiryu made in 5. And that's the beginning of Yakuza 6.
Okay.
So Kiryu gets out of prison and he's like, where's Haruka? So he goes looking for Haruka and then finds out that she's been in a car crash. She was hit by a car. So she's in a coma, and he finds out she had a child with her, a baby.
Wait, what?
So
say that again. What?
Haruka had a child in the 3 years that Kiryu was in prison.
Okay, right.
And
then she's in a car crash.
So she shielded the baby with her life. She's not dead, she's in a coma. But there's no one to look after this baby. They're gonna have to put the baby into an orphanage or up for adoption.
Right.
Kiryu's not having this. He steals the baby.
That's my granddaughter.
It's a boy. It's named Haruto.
Grandson.
Yeah.
Okay.
He steals the baby. And so
as you do.
The first hour after you steal the baby is a grandpa simulator where you have to stop the baby from crying. You have to get food for the baby. You have to change the baby.
Sure.
And it shows this softer side of Kiryu. It's great. I actually really love it. And Kiryu himself, amazing. He is back to how he was in the first 3 games. He shows emotion. He screams. He cries. He has so much expression on his face. They did so much work on his facial animation. It is. I was enthralled watching the cutscenes just from how amazing they look. So Kiryu is trying to find who the father of the child was, because as any overprotective dad would do, he's gonna beat the shit out of this guy.
Right.
So he eventually encounters this gang of Yakuza in the town who are a bunch of fucking goobers. And they are wonderful. They are a like I love the group in 6. You've got like a big dumb guy, a small kind of chubby like secretly smart guy, and then there's another big dumb guy and this younger kind of naive but well-meaning type. I wonder who the father is.
I wonder.
And they are led, and this is the moment where Yakuza constantly hiring big actors to play their characters actually like affected me, because I know who this is. I recognize face. I walk into the room to see who their leader is, and I see him sitting on the floor, and I immediately go beep, because it's Beat Takeshi.
Nice.
Man of the hour.
And the Beat Takeshi is a very interesting in this game, coming off the heels of Zero, because he plays a character who has motivations and a character arc, and does not feel like he could be replaced by any other character. Anyway. So this game is also incredible. Show the Japanese box art. Oh god. Hold on. The Japanese box art for this game is funny.
I'm just looking up. Oh, I see Beat Takeshi. It's here in full force.
Yeah, for anyone not aware,
it's truly be let's just throw every character on the front.
No, this is every character who is likened after an actor on the front.
Yeah. And then Kiryu.
Where is it?
And back of the English box art giving me how far would you go for family? Yeah. Real Fast and Furious vibes going on.
Yes. Here's the box art for anyone unawares. It's funny. There he is in all his glory on the left, Beat Takeshi. So going into Yakuza 6, the one thing I always heard about this game was that it was a step down from Zero in gameplay. And after playing Zero and thinking the gameplay was a step down from 5, I was afraid. Yakuza 6 has this really free-flowing combat system where it's kind of like Tanimura from 4, where once you activate a super mode, extreme heat mode, you can go into a cutscene with a strong attack by holding the button. And so you're constantly stringing together these moves. You are swinging everyone around so long Gay Bowser style to build up heat, and then unleashing it all and stringing together all these moves and flying between enemies with your attacks. It's really fun. It's super fun. I think this is the most fun Kiryu has ever been, which was surprising to me because so many people say this is the weakest combat in the series, and it's like, no, have you played Yakuza 3? Have you played Yakuza 3? Most likely not.
Yeah, I'm gonna say probably not. They probably only played Yakuza 0, maybe Kiwami, and then this.
Yeah. So the game is awesome. I don't want to spoil it for people who haven't played it. I was going to talk about some cool developments in the plot, and how one big moment happens where basically they're trying to uncover this conspiracy in the town, and this well-kept secret that was guarded for centuries is revealed. And I saw it. I saw what it was, and I just I said out loud, "This game is awesome." One thing I'd like to say though, and give me one moment so I get the name right. Okay, so sorry, I had to stretch. If you're playing on PC, there are 5 songs in the game that were removed. They're licensed songs, and unlike previous games in the series where you can get away with it, it's not that different. These songs by Tatsuro Yamashita are transformative. They elevate every cutscene that they're in. There is a very emotional moment, 2 in a row actually, about an hour from each other, that play the same song, and not only do they manage to pull off playing the same song twice in such a short time frame, they make it hit harder the second time.
Damn.
If you play on PC, I would really recommend installing the licensed music restoration patch, because it is also, with the better performance, improved frame rate of the PC version, is the definitive way to play this game. And I wish English audiences had this same experience, because I feel like the music emotionally moved me and elevated how I feel about the game. Which, the game is great. I really like it. But the music just makes it even better. The game's original score too is no slouch. This is my favorite soundtrack in the series, probably. It's really good.
It is very good.
So yeah, that ends Kiryu's story.
Yeah, I was going to say this is the end of Kiryu's story. Although he's, I guess, back in 8, right?
He's back in 8. He's having his own side game, in Gaiden.
Okay.
So I would recommend playing 6 before those games, because it's very important. It's going to be very important to them.
You need to get into the grandpa mindset before you can.
Gaiden will literally spoil. Gaiden will literally spoil 6 for you.
Okay.
So yeah. So we're done with Kiryu, and we move on to the final game, which is now a turn-based RPG. We have our new protagonist in Yakuza 7, known here as Yakuza Like a Dragon. It is Kasuga Ichiban, who is a goofball. He is this constant force of positivity in the world, and he is also voiced by the villain of the first game.
Sure.
Welcome,
Why not?
Ichiban. It's time to go on a dragon quest. Like a dragon quest. Oh no. They name drop Dragon Quest in this game. Like, they paid to just say Dragon Quest.
I mean, they're gonna kind of have to, right?
Yeah,
like I know
it's
this
like
game has lots of references to RPGs. Like I know there's a Pokemon reference,
Oh
although they
yeah,
don't
no,
actually
there's
say
there's a
Pokemon in it.
there's a whole Pokemon side story, and then
Yeah.
a whole part of the game is just a
There's a whole
parody.
Dragon Quest 3 side quest in Yakuza 0.
So yeah, Yuji Horii is also in the credits. It's funny. So because Ichiban grew up on Dragon Quest, he approaches every fight as a turn-based fight, letting people come in and hit him. This is said in the game. They say, Ichiban, do you just like getting hit? And he's just like, I think it's honorable to let people take their turn. and it's very funny. This is their explanation for why it's a turn-based RPG now, and
yeah,
and
I
it
want
is
to say only Ichiban, but because you play it from Ichiban's perspective, you see the world like that, but he's the only one.
Yeah, you
who
see
sees it like that.
you see in certain cutscenes that things are playing out very differently from how he's seeing it. but yeah, so like the first thing I noticed about Yakuza 7 is that it's a bit of a step down from 6 in terms of overall presentation. Like 6 had a noticeably super huge budget, but 7 feels a little cheaper. It feels a little less polished, but it's a much bigger game too. Like 6 is a 15 to 25 hour game. 7 usually lands around 40 hours. There's a lot of dialogue sequences, and I get why concessions had to be made. So Ichiban is the hero. He has a bat instead of a sword. That is, he pulls it out of the ground. He's the only one who can. It is the sword in the stone. It is, yeah.
He is the protagonist. He's the hero class. Oh man.
So you have a bunch of characters who serve as your usual RPG archetypes. The first person you meet is kind of enforcer tank kind of guy. He is an old dude, voiced by the Japanese voice of Solid Snake. I'm not sure who his English voice actor is. There's an English dub now. I didn't mention that. I didn't play with it, but it is there.
Yeah, because I know. Isn't there like a gag?
Oh my god!
Where there's like a guy who doesn't speak Japanese or something, or only speaks English, and they added like an extra line into the English dub to be like, yeah, I know, but this doesn't make as much sense in dub, but roll with it, kind of thing.
Yeah. So in the English dub, when you meet the guy who speaks English, he goes, "Holy shit, English," and then he slowly looks at the screen and gives a thumbs up.
Yeah. That's pretty great.
So the next person you meet is this game's mage. He is a hobo. He summons pigeons. That's your magic attack.
Oh yeah.
He also can shoot fire by breathing alcohol into a lighter.
Just modern day magic, man. That's all it is.
It's he's the hobomancer.
Is that actually what his class is called?
his class is called homeless guy, I think.
Just homeless guy.
Homeless guy.
Nice. A class specific to him.
So there are others. There are other party members. I'd like to talk about this one guy who is the most busted guy in the game. So funny thing about him, he is a character who is from the series previously, except not really. He is the imposter.
Okay.
He is this former character's body double.
Sure.
And he has access to the most busted skill in the game. It costs 6 MP to use, and it regularly does 1,000 damage. It's called head trauma. It's the first skill he has.
Wow.
It is broken. I am not sure if this was intentional. It is an attack that they used previously when they showed up in the series before, when the real one showed up. Funny thing about that guy, he might also be an imposter. We don't know. Actually, we do know. He is. There's just a line of imposters.
Just a line of fake ones, and you don't know if he's the real one or not.
Yeah, we don't know who the real one is. There might not be a real one.
Nah. They're all just fakes.
Yeah. You have access to summons, which consist of characters like from the previously in the franchise. Not everyone comes back. Akiyama's not in this game. But one of them is I keep getting asked to tell you about this. One of them is a crawfish named Nancy, who you rescue from a homeless guy who is about to eat her. And when you summon Nancy, she falls from the sky with a whole bunch of other crawfish and attack the person that you've targeted. Actually, nice. I think it might be party wide, like for the entire enemy party. So, oh god, I just played these games. I'm already forgetting things about them. Oh no. That's why I have. If you've ever seen a cartoon where somebody pulls out a long list and it like falls to the floor and keeps rolling, that's what I have. That's what I have right now.
Wait, so is Nancy the crawfish?
Nancy is the crawfish.
Right. Okay.
She is on Ichiban's shoulder on the North American box art,
right.
and also on the thumbnail.
I was wondering who that was when I saw that.
Opposite,
like when I was setting up this stream and I looked at the thumbnail, I was wondering what that was.
Yes, she is opposite to Jeff Keighley and his summon, Gex. So eventually you fight Kiryu. This is like something everyone knows about the game. You fight Kiryu.
I know about the Kiryu fight. I know the easy way of winning the Kiryu fight as well.
It's not the easy way, it's the only way. So you fight Kiryu, and this is where the mechanics of the game all come together. You are basically putting everything you know to the test. Kiryu can counter your moves, so you have to use all the skills that you've built up over the game. He is weak to the ice bucket.
Okay.
And he won't attack female party members. So don't bring women to the fight if you can avoid it. Because he will just go for Ichiban, and if Ichiban dies, that's the end of the game. Game over.
Okay.
So when you beat Kiryu, you get access to him as a summon later.
Yeah.
Kiryu is also a party-wide attack, I believe. You summon him. He does less damage than head trauma.
Whoops. Head trauma, truly the most OP ability of all time.
6 MP. But yeah, the combat's a little too simple for me. It eventually just like devolves into using the same moves. Obviously, I'm going to use
like
head
a lot
trauma
of
because
JRPGs,
it's
to be honest.
good. It's a
Yeah.
problem with a lot of JRPGs, but I think they could have alleviated it by consolidating moves, because you eventually get access to stronger versions of previous moves, which are they just cost more magic power. They have the exact same animation. So if they just like, if it was like Pokemon or Shin Megami Tensei or Persona, where you have to overwrite skills when you unlock them, because you have a limited move pool, I think that would have made the game better. Because you have to weigh the option: am I going to use this stronger move that costs more magic power? Obviously, the answer is usually yes, but still, it adds a little bit more to the game. And also, that skill list gets absurdly long for some of the characters by the end of the game. There is one party member who has a class that gets like 20 skills, and I'm scrolling through the entire list just to use one attack, man.
Right, yeah, because they got so much. They got so much, and there's only one worthwhile attack. So
Yeah.
Yeah, fair, that's fair. I mean, it's their first attempt at doing a JRPG, so maybe a lot of these issues will be fixed in 8, like Dragon 8.
You are right. I might have overridden head trauma. That would have been a disaster. That would have been a catastrophe. Head trauma's very important.
Yes, you must keep it there.
But if they can improve the combat just a bit for the next game, I think I'm okay with them continuing to make turn-based RPGs with Ichiban. Because they're also bringing back the action gameplay that the series was known for, with side games like Gaiden. And also they're bringing
as well, the remake of Ishin.
They're bringing Ishin over. I'm not too enthralled with the remake of Ishin. Ishin is a game that came out before Zero, and now it is being remade, and they're replacing characters with characters from 0, 6, and 7. And there are characters from like the first 2 games that are getting overridden. It's kind of crazy.
That is kind of weird.
There's also Judgment 2. I have yet to play the Judgment games. I'm kind of waiting for them to come on Game Pass. But yeah, I really loved the Yakuza series, and I'm really excited for what comes next. I am invested. I am going to keep up to date. This is probably one of my favorite franchises now. I loved it. Except for 3 and 0, I loved it.
They are like the most video game ass video games.
Yeah.
Like
they're a very interesting case of cinematic gaming, where they spend a lot of time on their stories, the cinema.
Yeah.
But once you pick up the controller, it's video game. You're gaming.
Yep, real gaming hours.
They also feel like not to be like really like pretentious and been like, oh, it feels like they're from a bygone era or something, but like it is crazy that whenever I think of the Yakuza games and someone's like, what do those games play like? I'm like, River City Ransom for the NES? Like they're really like people have called Yakuza Japanese GTA, and that's not true. And then people have said that they're Shenmue likes, which is definitely not true.
Yeah.
Like they are nothing like those games at fucking all. And I think it really says a lot about that. Like people don't even know how to really just describe them because they feel like they really feel like the odd one out in terms of like modern like big boy video games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is why I mean like the like switching from like a brawler, because that's what they are. They are brawlers. Like they are like beat 'em ups. They're genres that outside of like your 2D throwback titles, like you really don't see anything like those really, especially at such like a high budget level. But the switch to JRPG is like it is like a tinge disappointing because of that. I mean, like luckily, like Judgment is still a thing, and like they're gonna be making Yakuza spin-offs that play like the old ones forever.
So, special shout out to everybody who has stayed here for what ended up being a 2 hour just kind of
Yakuza
deep dive into
College seminar on the
different
Yakuza series.
instead of watching apparently what many are considering the best World Cup final ever. I think this is a good one.
I don't care about
massively about football, but I saw that I've been seeing all the tweets about it.
Yeah,
did France win? Is that the takeaway I'm getting from this?
No, it's still going.
Oh,
it's
okay.
like on second overtime or whatever
Oh,
extra
wow.
time that you call it in football. Yeah.
Oh boy, sports. Anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, once again, we just sat through a lot of Yakuza, and I'm all like, you know what? I don't want to do any Yakuza spoilers, so I just kind of went and did my own thing for a while.
That'd be a lot of Yakuza.
Okay.
A lot of Yakuza, man. That's all I'm saying. For fans, this is a good podcast for fans of Yakuza.
Maybe
100%.
not. Maybe not. Maybe not.
It depends on what part of Yakuza
Depends
you're a fan
of the Yakuza fandom. That is true.
Yeah, people who have only played Yakuza 0.
Zero. Apparently, Yakuza 0 not the game to play. I still have yet to play.
Just not the game to play first. That's the important takeaway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I now have a good understanding of the entire Yakuza series. So.
Are they back? They're back on Game Pass, right?
They're all on Game Pass. Unfortunately, not the first two PS2 games. I would recommend playing the PS2 games over Kiwami, which is what is on Game Pass.
Yeah. How would you play the first two games? Just emulate? Is that the only way?
So there is a restoration patch for the first game, as we've just talked about earlier, and I talked about last time, that replaces the English dub and bad translation from the first game with one that is more in line with later games in the series and the original Japanese audio. Play Yakuza Restored. Yakuza 2 is a better localization than Yakuza 1. It takes less wild liberties. There's no slurs in it. And there are some character names that are changed that carry over to 2, and that's all you really need to know about. The character Fuma is Kazama with it. That's Kazama. And the character Kage is the florist. The names I said second are their actual names, and also you will hear them say them in the audio, so I don't know why they even kept the changed names to begin with.
So yeah, just like if you can get your hands on a patched ROM, you play Yakuza 1 that way, and then Yakuza 2 you just play the PS2. It's like whatever region PS2 version.
You can patch your USA copy of Yakuza 1 with the restoration patch and play it, and it's a jolly good time.
Yep.
Jolliness.
Also, somebody mentioned earlier, so you're saying Kiryu for Smash? Yes.
Yeah.
There's the tease. Here he come. He be coming.
But also, like,
How can he
shouts
be in
out,
Smash if he doesn't hit women?
My
God.
Kiryu can hit women.
but also, like,
Whoa.
shouts out to Sega for basically making the entire franchise accessible.
Yeah.
Like, save for, like, the original versions of Yakuza 1 and 2, you can just play all of them on, like, a modern platform.
The only game you're
that's the
missing
best way to
that
do it.
matters is Kenzen.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
That's the samurai spin-off before Ishin.
Right, okay. So Ishin's not even the first samurai spin-off one, got it.
Yes.
There's a bunch. There's, like, a
Man,
bunch of spin-offs.
They did a whole lot of games from 2005 to now, didn't they?
A lot of those games had 1 year of development time.
Jesus.
They only stopped doing that with 5.
Man, getting real, like, when Armored Core 6 was announced recently and there was loads of people out there like, wait, there's 5 Armored Core games? Really starting to feel that with Yakuza. When Zero got announced, I did not know there was 6 of them, 6 other ones, and now it turns out there was actually like 8 other ones.
Oh, listen, I'm gonna Cody, in chat, I'm gonna level with you. The first game, I've said it last time, not much side content. The achievements would just be completed chapter 1, completed chapter 2, completed chapter 3.
Yeah. Also, just, like, who cares about achievements?
Yeah, some people are into it.
I'm not getting achievements, Shane.
Yeah. Well, we what was intended to talk about 2022 in this as well, but it's now we're hitting the 2-hour mark, and I actually have something that I need to do in like 40 minutes. So
Yeah, man.
we might leave the 2022 one till the new year, when I guess 2022 is actually over.
Yeah,
boy.
who knows? They might shadow drop GoldenEye in the next week, and then
That's true.
we'll
It's
have something
true.
to talk about.
We haven't had a 64 game yet for December. Like, what the hell?
The GoldenEye stream. Phantom plays,
Hell
picks
yeah.
Odd Job, we kick him.
Only if we play it on big head DK mode.
You know, I wonder if so many people had a problem with Oddjob being short because they just never changed the fucking controls in the options menu.
It's not so much. I mean, Oddjob's being short is one of the things, but it's also the fact that he can throw his hat, so he's always got a projectable weapon. When no
Yeah,
one
but
else
like,
does.
but like guns, you know.
Yeah, I know, but when you die, you don't. You start. Or you don't even start off with guns. Sometimes you have to go find them. You can punch as the default.
Depends.
Isn't it?
It depends on what mode you play.
Depends on the mode. Yeah.
Chat. I've said it before. I recommend playing the Yakuza Restored patch first. That is the first game for PS2 with the Yakuza Restored patch.
Mm-hmm.
Just like search archive.org for a while, you'll find it.
Yeah.
It's there.
We do not promote piracy.
We do not, but if they're not selling the game anymore.
Yeah, if there's no if you could play it in official releases, is Kiwami 1 alright to play if like first instead of 0, right?
Like Kiwami 1 is fine. I've heard testimony from some people who agree with me that it's a downgrade, that it's still like fine. So
It's tonality very different, but like it's not, you know, it's not like so like I don't think you're really losing.
Yeah, you could play
much.
Kiwami 1 and then Kiwami 2. It'd be kind of a gameplay. It'd be kind of a gameplay shock when you move from that to 3. But if you didn't want to do any kind of looking for patches and stuff, and you just wanted to play what Sega has made available, it's fine to do that, I guess.
I would recommend playing 2 over Kiwami 2 though, if you do want to continue the series.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, all right. I don't know if either of you guys have anything else you want to say to this.
My game of the year is Atari 50 by Digital Eclipse.
Yo,
nice.
Fucking good on them. That's a cool release. They should do that more.
All right. Fair enough.
Do you have anything to add?
What is in that particular release?
a lot. That's it's like it's the first time they've re-released 7800 games, Lynx games, Jaguar games, and then there's like just a lot of like little hidden bonuses, and like it's really more about the presentation than anything else. Like it's they basically set it up like you're going through like a digital museum, and they have like high resolution
So
scans.
it's kind of like the Rare Replay
Yeah,
vibes.
except with significantly more like effort put
Content,
into it.
because
Yeah.
it's Atari. Yeah.
It really does feel like a throwback to like the Namco Museum series, except there's more tangible stuff to look at and to read and to watch outside of like just the video games they have. It's really cool. I actually like. I know a lot of people are like iffy about going back and playing old ass Atari games, and like in typical Atari collection fashion, like the not having all the third party stuff, like not having the Activision titles for the 2600,
Yeah.
or not having like Aliens versus Predator or Doom for Jaguar does feel a bit weird. But you're really more for like the history than anything.
Ooh, it has Evolution Dino Dudes. That's a
Yeah.
game. That is a game that I have played.
It's got Trevor McFur in Crescent Galaxy.
Yeah, I that's a game also where it's all like what were
It's got
were you trying to do
life.
it?
It's got all these like awful, miserable Jaguar exclusives that I'm just like, it's just like I'm just happy that they're on a modern platform for once. Like
I mean, if it has Tempest 2000, then it's
it
fucking worth
does,
the
it do.
is worth the price of admission. Maybe I'll check it out. That's available on the Switch
Everything.
on everything. Yeah.
Available on everything.
Does it have Atari cards? It does have Atari cards.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Right.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to. Yeah, it's just I agree with you. The problem is that especially for the earlier systems, for the 2600 in particular, the 5200, like so much of it is like what people think of as quote unquote Atari is third party.
A long time ago, someone said the quality of like 2600 games goes from like Neo Geo to addictingflashgames.com, and it's like it's absolutely true. It's just like it's all over the place.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
I think if you like video games, like you should buy this collection. It is like it's such a celebration of video games. And we like that.
They're all about
cool.
them video games.
Yeah.
We'll have another week to download and maybe play that for Spoken.
Oh,
Give it a chance.
And then we can talk about the box office of Avatar 2, which I don't know.
I have not seen it.
I don't plan on seeing it. No.
Yeah, no. Unless someone invites me to go see it, I probably won't go see it.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody that's not Eric tells me it's fantastic, then maybe I'll. Like, nothing against it. I mean, you guys know I watch a lot of fucking Cape shit. I'm excited about a new Transformers movie. James Cameron is one of the all-time greats. I'm not like above Avatar. I just really, really didn't care about the first movie.
Yeah, but I mean, the first movie came out, and it certainly was a movie. And now the second movie has come out, and I've not seen many people talking about it, so I'm assuming it's also just another movie.
Yeah. I mean, I'll see how it goes. It's not anything. I am curious how it does in the box office. Because I don't know. I'm like, is it going to be ridiculously massive, or is it going to? It could go either way for me. I'm having a very hard time reading. I guess what the general audience's reaction to this will be. And I could probably just Google what the box office is now, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that.
Too much
effort.
effort.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I say we should start wrapping it up, especially if I want to go make dinner.
Yeah, I want to eat breakfast. Just kind of the opposite side of that.
Yeah.
Thank you to all of our lovely patrons who are scrolling up on the screen right now. If you want to support us, our Patreon is in the description. You get access to content early, and also there is a channel on our Discord for patrons. I hope you all have a very nice Sunday. And see ya. Oh, and always remember to return to the source. Oh no, oh no, oh no.
Oh,
I almost
you
forgot.
always
I
remember
almost
that.
forgot.
Almost forgot. You almost forgot when you should be remembering.
Should be remembering.
Yes. Remember.
Remember.
You're gonna have
All right.
push Dustin
Bye,
roll
guys.
in like fucking Mufasa telling people to remember.